Hi there, Sipsky here at EducateTube.com. Guess what? Recently I sold my a7rii and a6500, and the reason is because I want to get a7rii. Now I went to the ProVision 2017 and had a chance to try it out. I was very impressed with the a7rii, and I thought, after trying it for like a couple of minutes, because I just wanted to focus on certain feature that I want to see if it's worthwhile having. For example, the feature that I liked was that it was able to take 10 frames per second and review it right away. So that was very impressive. The touchscreen was similar to the a6500, right? And what else was convincing to me? The 42 megapixel was like, yeah, I could take 42 megapixel at 10 frames per second and I can review it right away. That was my selling point. That was like the selling point where I go, okay, that's the camera I want. Because basically it's a a6500 powered, fast, right? And the a7rii high megapixel combined together. And that's what it is. It's basically these two cameras combined together at a price that initially, when a7rii was launched, that was the price. So I almost bought it. Okay, I would have, it was very convincing. They would try to sell it to you because you get $300 off during that period of time. You would have saved on tax, right? Or almost, like it's a little bit more than the tax, but less than the tax, right? The tax is like $400 something. So I could save on a bit of on tax and get it for almost $4,200. So I'm like, should I or shouldn't I? But telling me like, Sipsky, you gotta wait for a while and get those professional to try it out. For example, one concern that I had, that Sony's camera, the mirrorless camera, seems to have, it happened to two of my camera, the a5100 and the NEX5N, this one here. The other one, I had two. This one's not so much, but the other one was pretty bad. Overheating issue. Yeah, so it had an overheating issue, and so I didn't want to spend money, a lot of money, right, on something that is half done, right, or half baked, as you might want to call it. So I want to give it more time and let somebody else give it a try and then report back to me, because this is a hard-earned money, right? Like I just sold my 2 gears and I don't want to put all my money in one basket, like investment, right? So I want to wait. So that's what happened, and so I decided, no, I instead of lining up, I just left, and I'll say, I'll wait till January if I have to, and then in fact I want to wait until a7S3 comes out, and then make a better decision on those, because I'm more into video than photography, but I like the high megapixel. If I want to take a picture, I want to take the high quality one, right? And I want to do a video, I want to do the best video if possible in terms of quality, right? And like the image. So I'm like, I don't know. If I'm hesitating, I shouldn't be spending it. It's a lot of money, right? Anyway, thank goodness I didn't purchase it, because what ended up happening was, I go home. I was feeling like a little bit sad. Like, oh shoot, should I buy it? And then I go home and I look at my old gear, like this one here. I have this is the NEX5N. Okay. The problem with this is that it's not good for recording video because it overheats after 15 minutes. But for photography, right, it's 10 frames per second, and it's only 16 megapixels, but it's more than enough for me. Right, that's if I want to print about 22-inch by 24-inch, this is more than adequate. Pretty good. So, and then I got it pretty much free because I bought it with a kit lens for $160. Sold that kit lens for almost the same price, and I got to keep this almost free, right? So now I can play with it. So really, this camera is almost free. I end up buying this 2870 FE lens. I had this before I sold it, and liked it, but I end up getting I thought anyway, getting a Sigma f2.8 would have been a better choice, but I found out that it was mounted on the adapter for Canon to Sony. I found out that its autofocus is pretty bad, so I sold that off and then wanted this back again, the 2870 variable aperture. And now, knowing a lot more than I knew before about this kit lens, I was able to bypass this a variable aperture. I'll have another video for you where I have a way to keep this constant, okay, constant aperture at f5.6. So then it's almost like f4, right? Like, you know, the Zeiss Sony 2470 mil f4 lens, which is like 3-4 times more expensive than this one, instead at f4. Well, I was able to keep it a constant, set it at 5.6. I'll have more video on that and explain more about that later on, okay? So I'm very happy with this. This, in fact, you know, this lens, this kit lens, the 2870 FE lens, if you check dxomark.com, the sharpness is even better than the Sony Zeiss 2470 f4. Yes, believe it or not, it is better. Okay, so if constant aperture is the one that, you know, you say you hesitate to buy, well, don't worry, there's a way out of that. You just have to compromise the one stop down. Okay, so you may sacrifice that a bit, but you know what, if you know how to control lights, it doesn't really matter. You can actually, that one stop, you know, it's just a little bit of light. You just add more to it, to your background, and you can achieve that f4, right, quality anyway, at f5.86. And that usually f5.6 is more sharper than f4. But anyway, that's a different video. We'll talk about that later. So after a day or two, right, reflecting and using this camera now, I'm like, I don't know if I want to buy a7R III. It's a lot of money, and for what I'm doing now, like I'm only doing YouTube videos, and maybe I'll take family photos, and I might be able to take some photos and videos for my friends and relative, and maybe some small paid jobs, you know, just for fun. But other than that, I don't know if I need a7R III. Seriously, right? I mean, it's a very good camera, but for $4,000, that's a lot of money. I mean, if you're, like I said, if you're a professional and you do this for a living, go ahead, buy it. Definitely worth it, I would say. But like I said, I'm gonna hold on that due to other things that I'm worried about, like the overheating issue. So if that is fixed, then I might buy it. But I also want to wait for the a7S III to come out and compare that to the a7R III, because that's what happened with the a7R2 and a7S2, right? So a7R2 came out first, and then a7S2 came out, and then people were impressed with a7S2 for videos anyway, right? Because of the you know, be able to film in very low light situation. So, and it could do 1080p, right? It's 120 frames per second. You know, all these little things. But of course, it can't. I didn't like that the a7S2 was only 12 megapixel. That's why I sold that one. I was very impressed with you know, 42 megapixel. Now, ideally, if a7S2 would come out with a 24 megapixel 10-bit rendition, right, 422, and doing like 180 frames per second like the GH5, the Panasonic GH5, I would be sold with that one. Now, of course, it has to be the same price or a little bit lower than a7R III. Then I'm sold. That would be the one I would probably want to get. 24 megapixel, 10-bit, 422 color rendition, and 180 frame per second. Oh, and 4K 60p, right? 180 frames per second, 1080p full HD. Yeah, that would be the camera to have. Oh, and one last thing, do at least 8 frames per second. I mean, that would be the ultimate camera. I would spend my $4,000 on that one. Okay. Oh, maybe a bonus, flip up screen or something like that. That's it. That will be the one. Now, if Sony, if you're listening, make that camera happen. Okay, you'll be able to take my $4,000 cash. I'll give you right now if you could come up with that. Let me review what I want. Okay, whatever you want to call it, a7S III or a9S, whatever, right? 24 megapixel, 10-bit, 422 color rendition, 180 frames per second, full HD, flip up screen, touch screen. What else? S log 2, 3. I don't care so much about the HDR log thing that you guys are making for the a7R3, because you know I have to buy a special monitor for that, so I'm not sure I want that. Anything else? Yeah, so that's about it. I mean, that if you can come up with that, and of course better image stabilization like the a7R3, and 20, I did say 24 megapixel, right? Yeah, okay. But yeah, if you can come up with that, 4,000 is yours. Anyway, so yeah, so now I'm okay with this NEX 5N is more than what I need. In fact, I'm filming with the 3N, and my son has my camera, the a5000, and all these three camera was less than $150. And with the lens, you know, I get good lens too, right? I end up showing all my mediocre lens, the kit lens. Now the exception, of course, is this kit lens, the FE2870 kit lens, which is fabulous. Okay, I kept another kit lens, the 1855. Both of this lens have a optical image stabilization, amazing for the price that you know you can get secondhand. I kept the FE28 f2 from Sony FE lens, okay, and I also kept the Zeiss Sony 55 f1.8 as well. So I sold my 85 mils f1.8 because it was like it has a similar quality as the 55 f1.8. It's just a further reach, so more zoom in, and so I thought you know I could save you know $600-700 if I sell it off and keep the money, right? So that's what I did. I ended up like kind of get rid of all the gear that I don't really need and keep the one that I think is essential, that will bring quality to my image, and be able to have cash. And when the best technology I think is coming out, I'm willing to put the money for it. But right now I'm just gonna wait and see, and I'm gonna get those professionals like who are into gears, who's spending a lot of money on gears, to kind of review it first and see. But like I want to be happy with my purchase. Like a lot of people say, you know, there's no such thing as a perfect gear. Well, I believe that from what Sony is developing, they could have developed what I just told you, right? It's not that they cannot. And it's the same thing with Nikon and Canon. It's not that they can't. The problem with them is that they have so many other technology they're invested in, and it's for pro, you know, the pros, right? The professionals, which is in the hundreds of thousands. They are not going to take that technology that's worth hundreds of thousands and bring it down to like only $5,000. They will lose a lot of money. So that's my take. I think the technology is there, but whether they're willing to compromise and bring it into one body is a different story. So anyway, I'll wait for that technology to come, and when it comes, I will put the money on it. I don't know what you guys think, but write a comment below and let's discuss about it. Thanks for watching EducateTube.com.